The history of psychology. Okay, so why do you care about psychology? Because Kanye cares about it. No, actually, because psychology is about you and everyone around you. Now enjoy these stock photos of people who are just like you. Psychology began with physiology, as you can see here. It was pretty gross back in the day, all the gross surgeries that they did. It also began with philosophy and this guy called Descartes who had some pretty sick bangs. Check out those bangs. This dude, Socrates, believed that the mind is separate from the body and that human behavior is innate. So did this dude, Plato, and that's called nativism. But this dude disagreed. That's Aristotle, by the way. This dude, John Locke, who came a lot later, also believed in empiricism, which basically just means that human experiences are what dictate our mental life. We weren't really sure about psychology way back then. Research and predictions were kind of off. Descartes thought that the fluid in the brain contained animal spirits, and this enabled reflexes. It's pretty far-fetched, but it just goes to show how little we used to know about the human mind. But not all the ideas in early psychology were that crazy. Some are still in use today. For example, evolutionary psychology, which is still being studied today, found its beginnings with Charles Darwin, the dude who wrote The Origin of Species. Back in the day, psychology wasn't really its own field. Get it? Until Wilhelm Wundt. He was a German dude who began the first psychology lab, and only issue was he used introspection, which relied on the subject relating their own experiences from outside their minds. Didn't work very well. Some separate ideas formed in psychology. Functionalism, promoted by William James, focused on the functions of the mind rather than what lay inside it. Here's more pics of him because we're already on an overload of old white dudes with beards, and we might as well continue it. Looking good. Contrasting with functionalism was structuralism, founded by a dude called Edward B. Titchener, which is a pretty cool last name. It focused on the contents of the mind, unlike William James's idea, and viewed these contents as simple individual elements. Then, of course, Freud! In 1900, he published Interpretation of Dreams, which focused on the unconscious and its influences on our mental lives. He believed in sex as a driving force for humans. Wow. But you'll talk about him in a later unit. Moving on, in 1904, Mary Calkins was elected president of the APA. Unfortunately, she was denied a PhD from Harvard because of her gender. This is Margaret Floyd Washburn. She finally got the first female psychology PhD. Woo! Fast forward to the 1950s and a new psych trend called behaviorism. These dudes wanted science, cold hard data from experiments, fun with lab rats, none of that internal stuff, just provable behaviors, things that you could actually see. This dude, B.F. Skinner, was a total believer. The next trend came around in the 60s with Carl Rogers, and it was called humanism. This ideology focused on the idea that humans are naturally good and just need to live up to their true potential. It was very hippy-dippy. Well, that's about it. For sitting through this, enjoy these pictures of a shaved raccoon. Can't believe it. And this one on a bike. Yay, you did it.